All right, let's talk about cybersecurity. To really get a handle on it, you have to understand the foundation, right? The core principles that every security pro lives by. And that's what we're doing today. We're breaking down the three pillars of information security, a framework called the CIA Triad. Let's get right into it.
First off, let's just acknowledge that the digital world can feel, well, a little chaotic. I mean, from you and me to the biggest companies on the planet, we're all facing this constant storm of digital attacks, and they're all trying to mess with our systems and data in a bunch of different ways. For starters, you've got malware, malicious software. Think of sneaky Trojan horses that create secret backdoors into your computer, or spyware that's literally watching everything you do. And the scary part? A single click on the wrong link is sometimes all it takes for these things to get in and start wrecking the integrity of your system.
And then there's phishing. Oh man, this is one of the oldest tricks in the book. It's where attackers send you these fake emails that look totally legit, maybe from your bank or a social media site. And their whole game is to trick you into handing over your sensitive info. It's a direct shot at your data's confidentiality.
Ransomware. That takes things to a whole other level. You might remember the WannaCry attack. It was huge. It infected tons of computers, basically locking up all the data and holding it hostage until a ransom was paid. Talk about a brutal attack on availability. You literally can't get to your own stuff.
And sometimes, the goal isn't even to steal your data, but just to shut you down. That's a DDoS attack, a distributed denial of service. It's where attackers just flood a network with so much junk traffic that it's like a massive digital traffic jam. Nothing gets through, and the service just grinds to a halt. A total assault on its availability.
It's a lot to think about, isn't it? The threats are coming from everywhere, and they're always changing. But here's the thing. Cybersecurity pros don't just run around putting out fires. They have a blueprint, a really solid, structured way of thinking about how to defend against all this chaos.
So the big question is, how do you organize a defense when it feels like you're being attacked from all sides? Well, the answer is in a foundational model that brings some serious order to that chaos.
And that model is the CIA Triad. And no, not that CIA. This one stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Seriously, these three things are the absolute bedrock of information security. Pretty much any security measure you can think of is designed to protect one or maybe even all of these pillars.
So here's our game plan. We've seen the world of threats and introduced the security blueprint. Now we're going to break down confidentiality, integrity, and availability one by one. Then we'll see how they all have to work together to build a really strong defense.
Okay, let's kick things off with the C, confidentiality. This is all about keeping secrets. It's the simple but critical idea that information should only be seen by the people who are actually supposed to see it. Period.
At its heart, confidentiality is about one thing: preventing unauthorized access. Think about your private messages, your bank account details, or a company's top secret plans for a new product. The whole point of confidentiality is to keep that stuff locked down and away from prying eyes. Here's a perfect everyday example. Let's imagine someone we'll call Jude. She's at a coffee shop, logs onto their free, unsecured Wi-Fi, and makes a quick online purchase. Well, a hacker is just sitting there watching the network traffic, and boom, they snatch her bank details right out of the air. Jude has no idea. That's a textbook failure of confidentiality.
So on one side, you have these threats like man-in-the-middle attacks, where a hacker is basically eavesdropping on your connection. But we have some really powerful tools to fight back. A VPN, for example, creates this secure, private tunnel for your data to travel through. And encryption, that just scrambles your information into unreadable code that's useless to anyone without the key. But just keeping data secret isn't enough. We also have to be able to trust it. And that brings us to the I in our triad, integrity. So if confidentiality is about who can see the data, integrity is about making sure the data is accurate and hasn't been secretly messed with.
Yeah, integrity is all about trust. Can you really trust that the balance in your banking app is correct? Can a doctor trust that a patient's medical records haven't been changed? Integrity is the guarantee that the data you're seeing is the data that's supposed to be there and that nobody has altered it.
So you've got attackers using things like SQL injections to try and manipulate a database. But on the defense side, we use incredibly clever tools like hashing. Hashing basically creates a unique digital fingerprint for a piece of data. It's like a mathematical seal of authenticity. If a hacker changes even one tiny comma in the original file, that fingerprint changes completely, telling us instantly that something's wrong, that its integrity is broken.
A really cool way to think about integrity is to look at the two sides of the hacking world. You've got your black hat hackers, the bad guys. They break into systems illegally to cause damage, steal info, or just generally mess things up. They are the threat to integrity. Then you have white hat hackers, the good guys. They hack with permission to find the security holes before the black hats do, helping everyone keep their data safe and sound.
And that brings us to our final pillar, the A in the triad, availability. This one sounds simple, but it is absolutely crucial. It's all about making sure that systems and data are actually there for authorized users when they need them.
I mean, think about it. What good is perfectly secret and totally trustworthy data if you can't get to it when you need it? Availability is what guarantees that services stay up and running. When you go to a website or open an app, you just expect it to work. That's availability in action.
So threats to availability aren't just those DDoS attacks we talked about. It can be something as simple as a server failing or a power outage. To fight this, organizations build layers of defense. Firewalls act like bouncers, filtering out malicious traffic. CDNs help spread out the workload so no single point gets overwhelmed. And for really critical systems, you have redundancy, which means if one server fails, a backup is ready to take over instantly.
Okay, so we've looked at confidentiality, integrity, and availability on their own. But the real magic of this model, the reason it's so important, is seeing how they all have to work together as one cohesive system.
And this is the key takeaway. These three are totally interconnected. A failure in one can easily cause the others to collapse. Think back to that ransomware attack. It starts as an attack on availability, right? You can't access your data. But hey, what if the attackers also stole a copy before they locked it? Now your confidentiality is breached. And what if the encryption process corrupted some files? Well, there goes your integrity. You see? You can't just focus on one. Real security is a constant balancing act between all three.
So let me leave you with a question. Think about your own phone, your photos, your private messages, your banking app. For each of those, which pillar of the triad matters most? Is it keeping your conversations confidential, making sure your photos are never altered, or just being able to pull up a contact's number right when you need it? The answer is different for each one, isn't it? And learning to ask that very question, that's the first step to thinking like a security pro.